What is up, Los Angeles? Welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, joined, as always, by my co-host, Erin Coscarelli. Erin, how we doing?
I mean, what a performance to come off a bye. Puka Nacua getting 2 weeks rest. Hopefully, knock on wood, Puka's fine. I mean, it's exactly what you hope to see as they have what could be a tough matchup going up north facing the 49ers so they can split the series. But I mean, not a lot to dissect and sort of criticize about this game. I think we could probably talk about the special teams a little bit, but since we're in the business of giving hope and positive affirmations, what did you love the most today, Rye?
Yeah, I mean, the offense was what I wanted to see. That was
Yeah.
what I loved the most. Was it looked fluid, it looked electric, it looked explosive and consistent and varied. Coming out of that Jags game without Puka Nacua, the question was, are they going to run 13 personnel
Mm-hmm.
like they did against the Jags? And they did. From my count, my count, it wasn't quite half, but it was in the 40%. I haven't seen the official numbers on the play breakdown, but that was a big question. What is this offense going to look like? Because the original kind of iteration was Puka or bust, and then Devontae Adams occasionally, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't always working. It was inconsistent in the red zone and on third downs, and now they got some options. So it's 7 targets for Puka and Devontae each, and then they had all of their tight ends had all together had 14 targets. So it's really coming together, and it's going to be interesting to see. I was going to go around the league while people are coming in here, just kind of updating where everything landed. 49ers come out with a win somehow again. They lose Mike Williams for maybe the rest of the year. They're one defender, it seems like, that they had left. But they come out with a win anyway. Seattle's going to play tonight. Bears pull off an amazing one. Vikings beat the Lions. Packers get beaten in another weird low-scoring game by the Panthers. This NFC, tell me just kind of a quick rundown. Is this the best team in the NFC as of this week?
It's hard to argue why they wouldn't be. I would say the Jags and the Saints haven't been the most formidable opponents necessarily, but it's kind of like if you've ever, felt like you needed to just build up your confidence, especially with a young team, to see things like that. And going up against what will be no matter who's playing, and we saw this happen whatever week it was. I want to say week 5 when the Niners came to town. Firing on all cylinders. That offensive line, Havenstein back, and I think you just want to feel like your team looks comfortable. I actually had anticipated we were going to see a lesser airing it out performance. I was giving advice. I co-captain this fantasy team, and I'm like, don't put Stafford in. They're going to run the ball. I mean, and they ended up doing that, right? I think they had a combined between Kyron and Blake Corum, 172 rushing yards, which is 4.5 yards per carry. And then that was the question we had asked Coach McVay this week is, how do you spread the ball around? There's one ball. And you're getting, Terrence Ferguson looked really good, really dominant, the fastest tight end in the combine, and he really looked like it. I don't know. I think if you're Sean McVay, you're high-fiving all day long. You're feeling really good about what this team looks like. But as I mentioned, back-to-back opponents that are, lesser strength. I think the positive of this is you're seeing things, and they were talking about it at the post game. The second half almost looked a little bit like a scrimmage, and they're putting things together, and it looks like it's working. So there's not a whole lot to complain. I guess the big issue is hopefully Puka will be okay, and I don't know what's going on with that kicking game, because Josh Carty yet again. A couple missed opportunities, and it's like, obviously didn't show in today's game, but when it's a 3-point game, 6-point game, those field goals and those extra points really matter.
Yeah, 100%. And it was interesting watching the Twitter discourse around that. Who's the most to blame? Is it the special teams coordinator? Is it all falling on DeCarty? And it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. If the kicker misses the kick, it's going to fall on the kicker. It's like if some shenanigans go down at a company, the CEO is the one that falls on the sword. It's not the lower level. This is. I don't think he's losing his job. We'll see. I don't know. Not this week. Neither the coordinator or the kicker, I guess. But yeah, definitely something they're going to want. Again, I'm far from a special teams expert, but wow, I mean, they gotta figure something out, because like you said, I mean, playoff games are decided by 3 points or less often, and the Rams will find themselves in that position again, and in this season, in the postseason. And if that costs this team, advancing to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, if that's what gets in the way, oh my.
Yeah.
We got people out there defending Cardi on Twitter. And I don't like to get into the Twitter discourse too much, because it's like, this insular little world that is weird. But if that's what it comes down to, I mean, that's just indefensible. You can't put yourself in that position at all. So, I mean, obviously it's something they got to work on, but the star of this game was the offense. I think the defense did well enough, but they were going up against Tyler Shook and sometimes Taysom Hill. And they just, could you imagine your first day on the job?
I know. Come on, that's not fair. You're like, really? I got to go against this defensive line? Come on. Braden Fisk gets his first sack. I had just interviewed him. I did a fun, little, Halloween candy themed piece with the Rams, and Braden Fisk, man, he is such a personality. He is so, and there's an element of him where he's kind of a gentle giant. He's got this sweetness about himself, but he was nothing but mean on this football field. And yeah, exactly. You're like, man, really, my first assignment as an NFL player, I've got to show up against this Rams defense. And they showed up, they showed out, and it's all good things, I think, moving forward. Nate Landman, yet again, knocking a ball loose. Yeah, I know, that's crazy. I mean, I was gonna kick the ball back to you. NFC number one, you think so as well, or what do you think? Who should be the top three?
I mean, it just feels like they're the most complete and cohesive team in the division. In the conference, rather. So yeah, I mean.
Is it fair to decide because of the opponents that they've played? I mean,
well, I mean, Jaguars are still a bit of a mystery. They're looks like they're going to sneak one out in overtime against the Raiders, who are a terrible team. Although the Raiders did get their best receiver back in Brock Bowers, so that seems to be settling down a little bit. But anyway, I digress on that. Yeah, I mean, it's still untold. I think Bill Belichick like to say that no team knows who they are until week 8 or until November. We're in November now. So I think teams are starting to figure out who they are. The Rams are starting to figure out who they are. This wrinkle of the 13 personnel, which isn't a wrinkle, really. It's a big part of their offense, and it looks like they're going to continue going on with it. And you can feel a big difference in it, having those tight ends on the field.
Yeah. How difficult does that make an opposing defense have to deal with, have to defend when you've got so many playmakers just dominating at one time?
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing it affects is the pass rush. So only 6 pressures allowed today from the offensive line and tight ends. And that has to do with, guys like Colby Parkinson and Tyler Higbee being in there as blockers. So that's where it starts. And if you look at who's getting paid the most on the defensive side of the ball in the league, they're edge rushers. They're able to neutralize edge rushers. And so then when you add Terrence Ferguson into that mix, who is
Mhm.
not a tight end necessarily. He's got that TE next to his name on the depth chart, but he is a wide receiver, and he actually currently has the um I want to say longest or deepest average depth of target in the entire league for any tight end. He's over 20 yards per target, which he's only got what now, 6, 7, 8 targets, I think, so far this year. So the sample size isn't there, but you see how they're using him in the offense. And I predicted that he would be kind of the main beneficiary of Tutu Atwell being on the injured
Mm.
reserve. Um, and it wasn't a case. It wasn't the case. Like, but all of his targets were more than 15 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's, you add those elements to it. You have underneath options. We saw that with Davis Allen and with Colby Parkinson. Tyler Higbee's always been that guy for this offense. You think about so many routes where he's 6 yards down the field, just waiting for the ball to hit him right in the hands, and he turns around and picks up the first down. So
It
it's interesting, and not a lot of teams are running it. So there's
Mhm.
defenses, especially the Brandon Staley, Vic Fangio defense, which the Eagles defensive coordinator is Vic Fangio.
Good. Yeah.
So,
Good point.
is this McVay attempting to solve for the Eagles this early on in the season? So it's encouraging to see it and see it come
Yeah.
out of the bye. So
Yeah. Yeah.
lots of good things. It's
Yeah.
and I was really critical of the offense early on because the defense was really keeping
Mhm.
things competitive, and they just were not executing a lot. So really, really, really exciting to see
Yeah.
how much they're leaning into it.
Yeah.
I was actually really shocked.
Yeah.
They rolled it out a couple of plays in. It looked like they were going back to 11 personnel, and like 3 of the first 4 targets were all the Puka Nakua, and I was like, okay, we're going back to this show. And they changed it, and to your point, it's affecting the running game as well because all those
Mhm.
additional blockers are out there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And this team just feels like right now, Ryan, they're having so much fun. Like you saw during, Halloween, which was Friday, a couple days ago, Sean Dolak, the rookie, comes out for their rookie Halloween contest. And he's like, imitating Sean McVay, which by the way was pretty accurate. It's pretty good. You could tell there's an energy that McVay operates with that the guy, and I think for me, how they all, and when I was interviewing Kyron about who's most afraid of ghosts, it just feels like there is such a camaraderie about this team and the ability to sort of like have a joke at the coach's expense. I think just really shows to me the chemistry, the comfort, and like I mentioned, most importantly, if you're having fun, you're showing up to work, you care about staying a little bit longer, coming in a little bit earlier. And the thing that's really interesting is everybody was, sort of at the beginning of the season, we talk about all the time, but it's funny. I like what you mentioned about, are we seeing this team prepare for maybe facing the Eagles again and going up against a Vic Fangio type defense, but also just taking a look at the storylines of where this team started, where they're going, how they, managed to build up some calluses, as Coach McVay always likes to say,
Mm.
good stress during his pressers from even just last season. It just seems, I think the thing I'm gonna, because I like to think ahead. Like, one of these coaches is going to get plucked from Coach McVay's yet again coaching staff, whether it's Shula or LaFleur, and rightfully so, because they've just been able to figure out the puzzle pieces. Even just, we talk about the 2 weeks off, the bye, the Jags game, excuse me, not the 2 weeks off, but the bye last week, taking 2 weeks and being on the road. There's just this cleverness to this team that feels original and unique. And again, I think it's just because they're having a good time. So it's kind of fun to see, especially with kind of what they've been having to navigate, and Stafford not available during training camp. I think all of us were like, oh God, what is going to happen? They have Devontae now, it's been really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a ton of fun to see the growth and the evolution of this team, and and just settling into this offense. We kind of knew what the defense was going to. Well, we didn't actually. I think the defense is proving to be a lot more dominant than we expected them to be. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so let's give out some game balls.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you want to start? You want me to start?
I mean, it's hard for me. I kind of feel like, obviously Stafford is the obvious one.
Yeah.
But I think what Stafford said, one of the things that, I always sort of evoke for me, what's interesting about football is how do people handle adversity and handle moments where things can feel frustrating. And somebody had asked, I think it was Gary Klein of the LA Times asked Stafford this week, what is it that you and Freddie Freeman have in common? Like, what separates greatness from average? And it just, the offense runs through Stafford. And I just feel like because that offensive line seems to be gelling and guys are coming back and Stafford's feeling really protected, this team, it doesn't matter if Stafford was not available during training camp. I mean, you saw how he even blocked. Remember, he blocked. Was that Puka? I think it was. Was it Puka? Who did he block for?
I can't remember, but I did
He
not like
took a
seeing it.
hit, and I'm like, that's you know, that's just that's next level. Next
Yeah.
level. So, yeah, Stafford, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
How
the
about for
same
you?
one. I gotta go with the same one. Just
Yeah.
dropping some stats here. 281 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So on the year so far, 21 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. This guy has got to rocket up the MVP list at some point. When do they start noticing that he's just going crazy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. He's so efficient. He doesn't
yeah,
need a lot of passing yards to get it down the field. And I think one of the issues too for us looking back was red zone efficiency. Just trying to figure out how to move the ball around, and that they're just getting things done. We were even talking about, like, when do we need to film our post game show? And it's like, well, we needed to move it up a little bit because
yeah.
the game was over sooner, just because it just seems like no matter what the challenge is, Coach McVay and Stafford together, they are a true power couple. They figure it out. And this is the other thing that was said on the Fox halftime broadcast. At this point, Stafford, like, we thought maybe this would be his last year. They're going to draft a rookie, but I don't even know. Like, can you with the way he's playing, if he stays healthy, maybe another couple years?
Maybe. I mean, the way he's playing this year, the offensive line was giving up a lot of hits earlier in the season. And that was something that was a problem last year as well that I was clocking, just because he was getting clocked a lot. And regardless of whether they're sacks or not, that's still going to take a toll on a body, especially an aging one. But it seems like they are getting it together in terms of protecting him more. Um, and as long as they can continue to do that,
Mm-hmm.
um, the unfortunate part is an injury can happen on any given play. Like,
Yeah.
let's cross our hearts and hope to die that nothing like that happens. Injury luck is what it is. That said, yeah, I mean, the way he's looking now, couple years, sure. We were talking about contract situations, and Stafford's contract is going to start to come into consideration for this team at some point. This team's going to get more expensive very, very soon. You're going to have to pay Puka Nakua next year.
Yeah,
Uh, the
that's right.
Quentin Lake. Next year, there are 5 defensive backs on this team's period, hands down, across safeties and cornerbacks. They're going to have to,
Yeah.
acquire some more of those guys at some point. So the maths, obviously, you pay a quarterback, you got to pay a quarterback. But the math starts to get interesting. How
Yeah.
much does Stafford want? He took a pay cut this year. Is he going to do that again? Obviously, the relationship with he and McVay is something special. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, the question with that does become: do you spend those two first round picks on a quarterback in the draft, or do you trade them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we should do a number crunching, even though math is really not my forte, just to get people up to speed about how special this season feels like for the Rams because, yeah, like you said, they're getting guys at a bargain. They're out there shopping at a thrift store right now, and that might not be the case. With with Devontae's situation, like you mentioned with Puka, they had
Devontae's cap hit is going to be the second largest cap hit among wide receivers next season. So, yeah, I mean, we definitely should dive into it. Absolutely, because it fascinates me, and I wonder about it. Because
that they
if you get a rookie quarterback next year, let's say, and Stafford is off the books, that makes a lot of other things a lot more feasible. To have that. So,
Well, and this is also why it is so important to draft
yeah,
really well, which the Rams have gotten guys at, again, bargain prices, and have made so many good moves. I want to say, is it 11 million per year less than Trevor Lawrence that Stafford's getting paid? Something crazy like that.
sounds about right.
Um, Something around that number. And look at what you're seeing Stafford do in terms of just his value add.
Yeah,
And I think it just, again, goes to why this team, and of course, obviously with Sean McVay, why this team is always sort of ahead, as opposed to why the Jets can never seem to figure things out, or the Giants, because they don't draft quite as well. And like you said, they've got two first round picks next season, and that is some crazy draft capital. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Falcons lose today, so heading into this week, that pick was number 12, so it's going to be a little bit higher than that, I'm sure. So yeah,
Yeah. It's
so
it's been a good weekend for LA because my Trojans got a win.
yeah,
The Dodgers won the World
against
Series.
against my hometown Nebraska Cornhuskers, but I won't hold that against anybody. They're just my hometown team, not my favorite for sure. But yeah, go Dodgers. I mean, I texted you. I was like, this series is bumming me out,
I know.
and it was nice to see him get the win. That was amazing game last night. But so speaking of games, 3-game stretch coming here. We got at Niners, and then we've got
Seahawks.
Seahawks, who we'll see here in a little bit, playing the Commanders tonight, and then we've got Bucks.
Bucks.
So this 3-game stretch.
I mean, that's the Seahawks is at home. That's gonna be where are you leaning in terms of how fans should feel heading down the next few slate of games?
They should feel great, I think.
Okay.
I think this is going to be, I think the Seattle game is probably going to be the most interesting one, the most telling, because they have a great defense. Their offense is only getting better. They're going to be really competitive in the trade market heading into Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to land somebody. So really interesting. But yeah, I think that, given where we are in the season, I probably say this every week. We'll have a really great idea of how good this team is after that stretch. Because these last 2 games were not indicative of, the competition.
It's not fair. It's not fair. But I can't just because it's a lesser competitor, obviously, right? The Saints, it's like you hope you beat them by a lot. and you've got a rookie quarterback. But I think the other thing to be mindful of is it's not just necessarily the competitor that's a challenge. It's also the varying degrees of, they had to get on the road and go to Baltimore. They stayed in Baltimore. They jet lag, I don't know, doing their thing in London and then coming back right after. I mean, that's not easy. And then even coming off of a bye doesn't necessarily mean you're well rested. You could feel out of sync. They just haven't taken their foot off the gas. And I think I will echo your sentiment, Rye, that after this few games, then we'll really know what this team is made of. But I think that's a great point. I think it's hard to say because the Niners, it's an unusually unique rival. But then, the Seahawks and then the Bucks, I think that'll be the test for sure.
Yeah, and I have a hard time believing that the Rams can lose to the 49ers again this year. I did not pick the 49ers to win that first game, but just the way they're the Giants and whomever they played last week before the Giants, the 49ers, they just move the ball on them at will because they have nobody on defense. Mm-hmm. And that should be the case next week as well. But until then, we will have a Rams victory under our belts, move to 6-2. Mm-hmm. Wow. This season is moving so fast.
I know. I was just thinking that. It is now week 10.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm not ready.
It sleeps for no one.
I'm not ready. How was your Halloween, by the way? What'd you dress up as?
I didn't dress up. I went over and handed out candy with my neighbors at their place who decked their house out. And we had the game on the projector. Game 6 was up there. And yeah.
Oh my God. There was this super funny meme on Instagram where it's like handing out candy on Halloween in LA. Someone opens the door and just throws the candy out at the kids and like slams it to run back. How hard is it to watch the Dodgers and then do your due diligence and be a good neighbor and hand out candy? You're like, but yeah, it was a unique Halloween. That's for sure.
Yeah. Did you have a good one?
I did. I went to a girlfriend's house. And she has a huge family. So I go trick-or-treating with her kids every year. It is like my favorite thing. And they have a golf cart in their neighborhood. And guess what? I was chilling in that golf cart, getting driven around and chauffeured throughout the neighborhood. I was having a great time. We went into a haunted house. The neighborhood it's in the valley. It's like one of the best neighborhoods for Halloween. So I get to be a kid for a day and kind of pretend to go trick-or-treating. And I love Halloween. It's probably my favorite holiday. But I can't believe it's over. That's what I hate about it.
Yeah, it came and went so quickly. Didn't even see it coming. Had all that. I'm almost all caught up on the It franchise. I've watched all the movies and most of the TV show out. So that was my big Halloween. But anyway, thanks guys for tuning in once again. Rams LAFB continues to grow over on YouTube. If you're not yet, please go like and subscribe. Tell your friends as well. We want to continue to grow this. We want to be able to continue to do this for you every week in and week out. It depends on you guys for showing us love. And you guys continue to do so in such an amazing and humbling way. Can't believe how easy you guys make this job. It's so much fun. And don't be afraid to comment. We got 0 comments. I guess we didn't say anything controversial enough, but appreciate you guys. Yeah. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.